Calaroga Shark Media.
This is the Sunday Jimmy Kimmel bonus episode. The normal episode went out earlier this morning. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac, and the ABC would like you to stop complaining. No, not that ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They say they're getting complaints about this Jimmy Kimmel thing. It's not them. Some of the complaints that have gone to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation include one person writing, "What you did to Jimmy Kimmel is against the Constitution, and I will be boycotting ABC. When you bend your knees to the president, you've gone too far. America is not happy with ABC." That's nice. "I will contact and boycott all business that sponsor ABC's shows." That's nice. Would you like a Vegemite sandwich? "I will never watch ABC again. Free speech is gone. Go Jimmy Kimmel." That's nice. Put another shrimp on the Barbie, will ya? The vast majority of complaints sent to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation had expressions of dismay that Jimmy Kimmel show had been pulled off air. Now, I know a lot of you are boycotting ABC over this, and I'm on Team Kimmel, in case that isn't coming out loud and clear here. But just explain to you the problem with your boycott. Okay, you're boycotting ABC, right? So you're boycotting Disney, so you're not going to go to the theme parks. Okay, fine. You're not going to watch Hulu, right? Because Disney owns Hulu, so delete your Hulu, delete your Disney Plus, all that's good. Okay, no more Star Wars. Okay. No more Marvel. Okay, but here's where I'm going to get you. No more Monday Night Football, guys. ESPN is owned by Disney, so don't think you're watching Joe Buck tomorrow night. And part of this whole thing, ESPN, which is Disney, which is ABC, they're trying to acquire Red Zone and do a deal with the NFL. So I don't want you watching Red Zone today. Now, I, as a hypocrite, I'm going to watch Red Zone because I like my football, and I'm behind Scott Beckett in the football pool and the 49ers playing the Cardinals at 4 o'clock. So I'm going to have Red Zone on. I'm a shill. I'm the worst. But you, no Marvel, no Disney, no Star Wars, no Hulu, no ESPN, no Red Zone. Stay strong. I saw somebody bring up on social media, I forget where I'm stealing this idea from, but if Kimmel doesn't host a late night show, whereas somebody like Fallon or Colbert, they were comedians, Jimmy is a radio guy who learned the art of the monologue, but he took a different path to the TV chair. So could he just translate his skills into something maybe the same way, Jimmy Fallon could just go out on tour, whether or not you find him funny. We'll get to that in a second. But I just thought that was an interesting observation that if Jimmy Kimmel's not a late night talk show host, what does he do? Does he tour as a comedian? I don't know. Friday night, remember this whole thing in part was that some of the stations were going to air a tribute to Charlie Kirk instead of Jimmy Kimmel's Friday night show that never happened. Well, psych, they didn't air the tribute. Sinclair put out an update on Twitter saying tonight, Friday night, Sinclair will continue to air ABC network programming as scheduled in the late night time period. The Charlie Kirk special will instead be available on the National News Desk's YouTube channel, ensuring viewers can continue to enjoy ABC programming while also providing full access to the special online. What are we doing? What are we even fighting over? Now you're not even airing it. ABC aired Celebrity Family Feud reruns, in case you care. This morning, on Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time, I typed the phrase Joe Rogan Kimmel into Google. Nothing new came up. In the New York Times, a friend of the show, Jason Zinnemann, who I have reached out to, I think he's on vacation, but I'm hoping to see if he's not, if I can get him on here, because I want to talk to him about all this. He also called out Jimmy Fallon. Zinnemann quoted Fallon from the monologue the other night when Fallon said, "To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. No one does." Zinnemann wrote, "Really? Anyone paying attention should have some idea what's going on, but the temptation to play dumb is surely real. To be fair, Fallon does not portray himself as the kind of man who broods over the responsibilities of the artist in an age of authoritarianism. He's never seemed especially interested in politics, but that hasn't stopped him from becoming entangled in it. He was blamed for helping to usher in the first Trump presidency because he infamously ruffled his hair on The Tonight Show in 2016. That always struck me as unfair. Trump and hair jokes had been a hallmark of popular culture for decades. Fallon was just following the crowd. But there have lately been signs that Fallon's trying to get ahead of it to avoid attacks from the administration by playing nice and downplaying political comedy, working both sides of the aisle. A recent Tonight Show guest was Greg Gutfeld." Skipping ahead, Jason writes, "As I watch comedians navigate this thorny moment, I've been thinking about parallels from the recent past. That hasn't led me to any American late-night controversies, but it did immediately bring to mind A trip to Moscow for one of the first articles Jason Zinnemann, wrote for The Times. It was a 2003 feature about a spate of Russian artists introducing American musicals to their country for the first time since the fall of the Soviet Union. And then Jason has a whole section there about what's going on over there. And I encourage you to check out Jason in the New York Times. The Guardian walked through the history of The Tonight Show. They point out Steve Allen regularly poked fun at political figures in his opening monologues, but in a measured, self-deprecating style that was typical of the era. It wasn't until Carson took over in '62 that The Tonight Show transformed into a cultural institution where politics was mined for nightly material. Carson resorted to impersonations and satire to highlight the human inconsistencies within politics, and borrowed from Abbott and Costello's Who's On First to parody Reagan's rhetorical doublespeech. It wasn't until the 90s, when Carson was heading for retirement and the competition for his crown and ratings was growing more intense, that you began to see presidential hopefuls pursuing late-night appearances. On Late Nighter, Bill Carter points out that ABC has an impossible choice. He writes, Jimmy Kimmel does work for ABC and has for 2 decades. He has been literally the face of that network for some time now, as host of the Oscars and other ABC properties like Millionaire. By the way, I had it in my notes, Mark Maron was supposed to be on Millionaire this week. I mean, it's already in the can. Is that going to air? Carter writes, surely ABC would value this vital talent. But now what? ABC, of course, realizes that Trump and FCC chairperson Carr will make good on the threat, which Carr stated openly and without any regret about his unabashed abuse of power and undermining the Bill of Rights. Using terms Tony Soprano would have loved, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, writes Bill Carter. If ABC decides to stand by Kimmel, the hard way may be financially excruciating. Carter points out Sinclair Broadcasting put out a statement that they're not going to carry Kimmel's show no matter what, even if ABC brings back. Carter writes, that would seem to leave ABC a little leverage to stave off canceling Kimmel, though that would widely be seen as the most craven capitulation yet to an unjustifiable act of government intimidation. ABC Disney is in a brutal situation. The administration can inflict enormous damage to its bottom line. If the company defies, it will have to weigh that against the value in defending the principle that the American government has no business dictating who gets to talk on television. Late Nighter, an incredible resource during these times. You should absolutely check that out. And that is your bonus episode on a Sunday morning. Back tomorrow morning with the normal episode. And I've got a lot to say at the beginning of tomorrow's episode, so make sure you check that out. See you then.